Welcome to Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Eric Nepute, and welcome to Wellness Matters. And with us, as always, in studio is our jack of all trades, master of none, Ryan.
Hello.
And then our producer, Kane, is with us as well.
Thank you.
All right, so for those of you that have not listened to our program before, let me kind of lay down what we're about, what we do, and why we're here, because we want to get into this info. We got a ton of stuff that I'm telling you you absolutely do not want to miss today. So I'm a doctor. My background is by trade. I'm a doctor of chiropractic. I run a wellness center, which means that we have chiropractors, medical doctors, nurse practitioners, nutritionists. I mean, we really are your one-stop shop for everything. We treat everything. If it's not broken, if you need if it's fractured or if you need surgery, we refer out for that. But everything else, we take care of it. And that's the thing that we want to talk to you all about today. You know, this whole radio program is based out of absolute and utter frustration. I came on the airwaves to share with all of you listeners that, listen, we need to wake up. We are living in a world where our system is so jacked right now, especially when it comes to our healthcare system. It's not really even healthcare, it's sick care. So our mission and purpose is to give you all the options that are out there and really and truly to put the health and care back into healthcare. You know, and we hit these airwaves every weekend, and we're changing lives, man. I mean, we get callers that come in. We get folks that come into our clinics. We got doctors listening all over the world, and they're having their patients listen because, you know, people need to hear this stuff. They're not going to get it anywhere else. So that's why we're here. You know, give you an example of lives that are being changed, of things you couldn't even imagine. Just a few weeks ago, and Kane, I think I told you this Friday, there's a guy who heard us talking on the airways. He's actually a doctor. He has a condition called Parkinson's. I'm sure you guys have heard of this before. Sure. Horrible, tremors, resting tremors, and he's just all over the place all the time. And his biggest fear is they're going to have to take him off of his medications because he's at such a high dose that they can't give him any more. And basically, he's been on these medications to suppress his tremors. And now they got to cut it cold turkey. Well, he doesn't know what to do. So he comes in and sees us. He heard us talking about alternative solutions and how we work on the brain. 2 weeks later, this guy's tremors are almost gone. And he can't even explain this. And he's a doctor.
That's amazing.
It really is. And the thing is that it's amazing, but it's not. Because this is not that complicated. And that's what I want to do today. Because the problem, here's what I want to get into. What we have is this. We know, number one, that we have a system that's screwed up. All right? I want to teach all of you today how it got that way. Then what I want to do is give you solutions how to fix it. So everyone right now, I don't care what you're doing, pull over, listen to this, call your friends, tell your loved ones, get on our Facebook page. Where can they find us on?
It's Nepute, Nepute Wellness on Facebook, or you can go to NeputeWellness.com.
Right, and we have all of these shows. If you can't sit and listen to this whole thing live, you can go back and listen to it later and share this with your friends. Because today's topic is I'm going to show you how we got this way, how our system's so messed up, and then how to fix it. That's really the deal for today, you know. And I'm going to tell you a couple things, you know. Let me ask you this, Ryan. So last week on the show, we had a doctor from New York that was on the program, Dr. Ancor. Yep. And, man, you know, just a smart, phenomenal guy. And we were talking about the leading causes of death in the United States. Right? And do you remember, you know, most people think, what's the leading cause? What do you guys know?
There's always heart disease that we had always heard.
Yeah. You know, like some 550 or 600,000 people a year die from heart disease, that's crazy. That's a large amount.
A lot of people.
You go any room, that's half of the people in that room.
Yeah.
Well, the research is actually clear that is the number 2 leading cause of death. The number 1 leading cause of death on this planet is due to physician-induced death. What that means is this. That means that more people die a year from the prescription drugs that they're taking and the side effects of the surgeries that they have than anything else. As a fact, the research shows that it's anywhere between 750 to 780,000 people a year.
And that counts like, I take it you're like wrong medications, hospital infections, things like that?
All of it. All of it. So I just thought that was kind of crazy. And, you know, I want people to understand that, you know, medicine has got this there's nothing wrong with medicine. I'm a fan of medicine, at what medicine does. So that's what we first have to get into, is that there's a paradigm shift that has to take place, and it's got to take place now. There is such a revolution going on. There's more people conscious of this now than there ever has been. As a matter of fact, on 2020 Friday night, which this is how exciting my Friday nights are, I watched 2020, and there was a segment on there, and I don't know if either one of you guys saw this, but it was basically like behind the scenes stuff that happens, and one of them was like what your hairdresser says about you when you're not around.
Yeah.
And one of them was what happens when you don't tip your waiters and waitresses. What do they do to your food?
It ain't good.
No, it's not. But the other one that blew my mind was there was a whole segment that was like the behind the scenes of the ER.
Right.
What happens in these doctors' worlds, because we've got this whole facade about medicine that it's like the great and powerful Oz behind this curtain.
The guy comes in the lab coat and you're.
Yeah, but the doctor first of all, the guy who did this presentation is a practicing physician. He is a surgeon that teaches and practices at Johns Hopkins, which is a huge school of medicine.
Giant.
Huge. And he was saying that, there's at least 160,000 people that die a year because of wrong prescription drugs that they do. He says there are doctors that, the doctor may have gotten a DUI that night and the next day they're operating on you. They were showing clips where there was a guy that had the wrong leg amputated. And Dana Carvey, you guys know Dana Carvey, right?
Yeah.
So Dana Carvey was on there talking about how he had heart issues, and they went in and did a bypass, but they bypassed the wrong artery.
Wow.
So
no.
and then they were talking about, like last week we said
they make money on that. I mean that's the it's like if you go somewhere and they mess up, like on your order, you go to McDonald's, they mess up, you'll get another cheeseburger. Wherever you go to a restaurant, they'll comp your meal, whatever it may be. At the hospital, if they mess up, they get paid more. The insurance company still has to pay them for so how does that work?
Well, they were saying that the average, and this is just in a journal that was out there, we were talking about this last week, that the average hospital stay costs $17,000 for average. But when they make a mistake, they make another $30,000 off of that per person. So there's a little problem going on with our healthcare system, and that's it. So where did it all start? How did we get so screwed up? That's what the question that people need to ask is, how did this start? How do we fix it?
Right.
Because right now they're arguing literally, well, probably not today because it's Sunday, but maybe Monday they'll be arguing in Congress, not about how to fix the problem, but who the heck's going to pay for it.
Right.
That's all they care about.
Yeah.
You see, and that's totally flat earth thinking. We have got to find out what caused this. So, okay, boys, here's your history lesson for the day. Now, I'm a history buff. I love history. Now, let me tell you, I've been doing some major research on this, and this is how our system got to be where it is. So at the turn of the century, back at around like the 1900s, there were several powerful men on this planet. Guys like Andrew Carnegie, guys like Rockefeller.
Yeah, I just watched a show on History Channel about these guys.
Yeah, what was the name of that show?
The Men Who Built America.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, what were they talking about there?
Oil and how they did, like they built their empires in oil and coal and
so check this out. I want you guys to look this up. It's called the Rockefeller. Is it the Healthcare Coalition? It's
Healthcare Coalition.
Rockefeller Healthcare Coalition. So back in 1910, Rockefeller and Carnegie and J.P. Morgan, which are huge money dudes, what they did was they had this guy named Flexner. Flexner went out and he went to every medical school out there that taught allopathic medicine, which is medicine that deals with drugs and surgery. So let me back up. Back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, there was 5 kinds of medicine that was being practiced. There was allopathic medicine, which is what we know today as medicine, okay?
Right.
They used to call chiropractic medicine, okay, which we know it's way different, but that's what they used to call it. They used to have homeopathic medicine, osteopathic medicine, and naturopathic medicine. So there was 5 types of medicine. And what Carnegie, J.P. Morgan, and Rockefeller did was they started this coalition where they pumped money into the schools that taught allopathic medicine only. So they were giving literally millions of dollars to these schools for free.
And it was called the the General Education Fund.
Yes, so they were giving these schools this big money. All right. And they were putting money into PR, telling people that you need drugs and surgery, you need vaccines, because people only know what they're taught. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So the deal is that they bought up all the medicine, and you want to know why? You know what those guys owned? Pharmaceutical companies. They were the original pharmaceutical conglomerates.
That wasn't on the Men Who Built America.
No, probably wasn't. But dude, that's where. So listen. So here's what happened. So there was those 5 types of doctors out there, and guess what happened? The 5 really condensed down into 3 after that. They were medical doctors, chiropractors, and then the osteopaths, which we all know what allopathic medicine does. These are the guys who drugs and surgery is the answer. We treat every symptom as a problem, and we treat the symptom, not the cause. We know that to be true, okay? We know that chiropractors look at more of a holistic standpoint, and we say that chiropractors deal more with the neuromusculoskeletal body. They deal with the brain. They help balance out the stresses in the body, and they help get to the cause. Remember we said last week a doctor of chiropractor really is the doctor of the cause. We find the cause of it. And osteopathy really used to be a combination of chiropractic and homeopathy. Well, what they would do is they would manipulate the spine. The guy who actually was the first one to start osteopathic school, he learned from chiropractors. You see, he was a chiropractic student. And then he also believed big in nutrition. Well, so what happened was the medical coalition came around and said, look, here's the deal, is we want you osteopaths to now join ranks with us. We're going to give you all a lot of money. We're going to make sure that you have the same rights that we do, the same privileges we do. You're going to be in all the PR campaigns that we get, but you're not going to be quite as good as us because we're MDs, but we're still going to give you some big rights. And they said, all right, we'll do that. Sounds like a deal. So now when you go to your doctor, you go to your, like my wife's OBGYN. I love her to death. She's phenomenal. She's an osteopath. She's a DO. Okay. But they still have all the rights and privileges that a medical doctor does. Right. Then the medicine went to the chiropractors and said, hey, chiropractors, we want to offer you guys the same deal. We want you pushing drugs. We want you pushing surgery. We want you pushing this deal. You know what the chiropractor said? You guys can take a long walk off a short pier, Jack, because that ain't how we roll. And the deal is that that's where that all started. There was a huge turf war that was going on, and it was because, the big pharma, and it's still today to be true, big pharma still controls what most doctors prescribe for their patients. I mean, it's an actual fact. This is not some conspiracy theory. This is legit stuff. It is.
It's like you're living in the Matrix.
So, as a matter of fact, we're actually, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the Matrix because I'm actually writing a book about that, the healthcare system in the Matrix. So listen, here's what I want. I want everyone listening right now, I want you to make sure that you tell your friends, your family, your loved ones to tune in. Get us on Facebook at Nepute Wellness. I don't want you to miss this next segment coming back because we're going to really start teaching you how to fix the problems that you have in your health. So we'll see you in just a minute.
Tell 'em that God's gonna cut 'em down. Tell 'em that God's gonna cut 'em down.
Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
Well, my goodness gracious, let me tell you the news. My head's been wet with the midnight dew. I've been down.
Do you want to know what it is? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church, when you pay your taxes. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste.
All right, welcome back to Wellness Matters. We foregoed our normal intro to give you a little taste of the Matrix because we just talked about that right before the first break. Because one of the jokes that I always tell people is that we literally live in the Matrix. We don't realize it. We are so plugged into this machine system of big pharma and drugs and surgery that who's going to take the blue pill or the red pill? Well, I mean, I've obviously swallowed the blue pill several times over, and not the kind that you need for extracurricular activities. So the deal is this: once you understand the healthcare system like we understand it, things like Ryan, we talked about like GlaxoSmithKline. They just paid $3 billion in fines because they lied. They lied to you, people. The people, listen, you're listening right now. You're being lied to regularly about the pharmaceuticals. They were telling people that they're safe, and it's killing people. Yeah. What were you telling me that you were reading some things in there just a second ago about?
Just all the bribery that they do. Yeah, it's kind of like, it seems like it's backhanded bribery because they basically, they spend so much money on advertising that it's in the best interest. I mean, how could you talk bad about them if they're supporting, Fox News? I love them.
If they're making $20 billion a year or $50 billion a year, is $3 billion going to really, you know what I mean?
No, it's cost of doing business, man. It's like what it costs me to drive to work every day.
Yeah.
That is no big deal. And here's the thing: what I said before at the first break was that that's been going on since the beginning. You understand?
Right.
That's the point I want to get across: is that it's a generational curse because you know what? People don't know any better. It's been going on for 4 or 5 generations, and it's time to wake up. It's time to get unplugged from the Matrix, people, and start living life, because you can have life and have it more abundantly if you just understand the simplicity of how the body works. It is not difficult. Just like I was talking about with the guy that's got Parkinson's. It blew his mind. And you know what he said to me? He goes, "This is the most amazing thing I've ever done." By the way, he's a doctor. And he says, I don't even know how to tell people what's going on with me.
Do you legitimately think that it's because they do spend so much money on advertising and all that these news agencies aren't talking about this kind of stuff?
I don't know, man. I mean, here's the deal, is that, think about this. The reason why we buy into the system the way that it is because, social media and social acceptability and credibility. And listen, first of all, let me back up. There's so many callers on the line right now. I'm going to get with you all in just a second. If you'll just hang, I'll get with you, I promise. But I got to get this out. The reason why everyone thinks that allopathic medicine is the way to go is because, look it's every other commercial on TV. By the way, we're the only country in the world now that allows for advertising of drugs on television. Every other country has banned it because it's illegal. Number 2 is, how many shows have we seen like Grey's Anatomy and House, and
it glorifies.
They just glorify it. It edifies it. It's the sick system, and then you know what? It's in magazines. It's everywhere, and so that's what And guess what? It also gets reimbursed on your insurance. So therefore, everybody thinks, well, that must be the best way to do it. But you know what? They're all piggybacking each other. So here's the deal. So the reality of it is that we understand that we have a broke system, but we need to fix it. And people need to realize that it can absolutely be helped. And I actually want to take this call. There's a young man on. Let me get line 1, Kane. So hello, Kevin. You're on Wellness Matters. What can we do for you?
Hi. Yeah. I've got a rash. They call it idiopathic urticaria, which means it's a rash. They don't know why it's there.
Exactly.
And it's obviously I'm having an allergic reaction to something.
Okay.
And they first put me on over-the-counter stuff like Zyrtec and Zantac because they're like H1, H2 inhibitors, and plus I had some Benadryl.
Okay.
It seemed to help at first, and then it seemed to not help as much. And it only happens in the evening, around 8 o'clock, and then by 10 o'clock in the morning, it's basically gone.
Okay.
Every night since April 10th. I know exactly when it started.
Okay.
And last night I actually had face, tongue, and lip swelling, and that's kind of like an ER thing. So I went there, gave me prednisone and a stronger dose of Benadryl, and I think one of the other proton pump inhibitors.
Sure.
And for the H2 blocking. And so, and after a couple of hours, I cleared up again, and I went to work today and everything. But my PCP said, try the over-the-counter stuff, and then it wasn't working.
Right.
Said, well, maybe you could go to a dermatologist, or I'll give you some prednisone.
Right.
Up to me. And I'm like, well, isn't it up to you to figure
exactly.
that out?
Thank you. Yeah, and Kevin, that's a great point, man. So here's the deal: is that what we need to find out is what's the cause of that problem. Why do you have that rash? Because a rash, just like any other symptom, is your body saying that there's a problem. Okay,
right.
And we can take prednisone to block that from happening. But the rash is there again, saying that there's an issue. So typically, let me ask you this now. I don't want to divulge too many secrets of your life on the airwaves here, but do you get a lot of dry, cracky skin normally?
No.
Okay. How about stomach issues? Do you have any regular lower back?
Yeah, I have stomach issues. I've had them for a long time. Let's put it that way.
So, Kevin, here's the deal. I'm going to tell you that we find the 2 big causes that we find with rashes are this. Number 1 is that there's some type of chemical intolerance, so the body can't digest things. And what happens is when you can't digest things properly, even though this is something that just came up with you, it could have been manifesting for years, Kevin. And what's going on is now your body's starting to mount an autoimmune response to it, and now you're breaking out because the body just can't handle it anymore. Or number 2, there's a neurological complication there that we call a subluxation. There are nerves in the spinal cord that that tell the brain and body to communicate and digest stuff and fight stuff. Bottom line is that there's some imbalance in there that needs to be addressed. I would be more than happy. Anytime you like, if you want to do off-air, you call my office and I can walk you through a consult over the phone. Or even simpler, you come into the clinic, we scan your spine to see if it's neurological. We do a urine test to find out if your digestion's off. We find the cause and fix it. That's how simple this is. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, yeah. Because I was afraid to eat anything anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, changing laundry detergent, all that stuff, and none of it seems to make a difference. So.
Well, Kevin, let me just tell you this, is that you can find us on the web at NeputeWellness.com. I'd be more than happy to help you. I appreciate your call. And, the deal is that so, Kevin, thanks again. Thanks for the support of the show as well. So, guys, check this out. So, guys like Kevin, there's so many of you out there right now that are listening that are in the same deal. You were talking to me over the break, Ryan, about what about if people have migraines? And you're talking about these young medical doctors. What were you telling me? These young guys come out of school?
They feel so good. They come out of school, and I just imagine being in their shoes. They're coming out of medical school, and they feel good because somebody comes in, they got a headache, and they can prescribe something, and the person comes in there in pain. They prescribe it, they get the prescription, and they now feel better. And now, as far as the medical doctors feeling, they're like, wow, I just helped that person. But like you said,
well, check this out. What if Kevin, like the guy that's just on the phone, what if Kevin has a rash because his lower bowels are becoming toxic, and they're starting to degenerate and corrode over time, and his skin or his liver's going bad because the skin is a direct reflection of the liver? And what if the dermatologist gives him a pill, potion, or lotion to get the rash gone, but it rots this dude's liver out, and then 5 years from now, his skin looks great, but he dies from liver disease?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Well, and the same thing with these headaches, dude. People get headaches, and why? Why do they have them? All of you listening right now, find out the freaking cause of your problem, and then you can fix it. If you don't know the freaking cause, don't take the pill for it. And if the doctor tells you, here, take this, or just like Kevin said, the doctor said to him, take whichever one you want. Well, shouldn't you, the doctor that spent 1,000 years in school, know which pill to take? I mean, come on, this is ridiculous. And this is the society we live in. So if you don't know the cause of your problem, go to someone who knows how to help you find the cause.
And what he talked about is exactly what you're talking about. I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly right.
Is that every single how long will he be on that? How long? So is it just hospital visit after hospital visit of every time something like that happens? He just more medicine, higher doses.
That's
more
what they're hoping.
Yeah,
that's right. Just like the guy who came to see me who's got the Parkinson's. Now listen, I don't treat Parkinson's disease. I don't treat cancer. We don't treat heart disease. We treat people who have those problems because they have imbalances from somewhere else. We fix those imbalances and their problems go away. So the guy who comes to see me and he's taking 8 medications a day for Parkinson's, and they're saying, Doc, it's killing my liver, and I've got to cut this stuff cold turkey. What am I going to do? You know what the guy says I'm going to do? Most people tell me, you know what? I don't even want to be here anymore. My life sucks so bad. I'm ready to do something to end this suffering. And you know what I'm talking about. And that's wrong. Because the thing is that no one has dug deep enough to find out the cause of the problem to help these people. And this is not difficult, you guys. The thing that we hear in our offices all the time, when we sit down with someone and explain to them what the problem is, the first thing we hear is, well, that just makes sense.
Yeah.
And the second thing we hear is, why the heck hasn't someone explained that to me before? And then here's the other thing. Here's my biggest rub of the week is when I tell them what the problem is and they hear about it and it makes sense to them and they go, oh, yeah. Then they go for their checkup. And the medical doctor that they've been seeing for 20 freaking years says, oh, don't see those guys. That's pseudoscience. That's a lie. And it's a legal doctor. So any of you guys that are saying that stuff, you better be careful because it's against the law to talk about that. And patience, here's the deal. If you've been seeing this medical doctor doing the same thing for 20 freaking years and you keep doing that, you're going to keep getting what you've always gotten, and it's crap results. That's why you're seeking other doctors.
Yeah.
Pardon my French, I'm a little bit preachy today, but it's ridiculous.
I've been hovering over the dump button, so it's all good.
You, I
well, and like he said, go to a dermatologist, then the dermatologist is going to send him to another doctor, and it's almost a never-ending process.
Here's what I'll bet you. If Kevin comes in to see me, Kevin, if you're still listening, I want you to come in the office. I want you to come see me. My office number is 314-544-5600. You tell him that you found us on the radio. You come in. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to help you find the cause of your problem. I don't want to sound arrogant on the radio, but I'm going to help you fix it. And once we do, then you're going to get on the radio and you're going to tell people that, look, he found the cause, they helped us fix it, and now I'm fine.
Yeah.
This is not difficult stuff. And when we come back, I've got some crazy stuff that I want to share with you guys, research that talks about how to prevent cancer, heart disease, diabetes, and stroke. So stay tuned to Wellness Matters.
Because you can't starve us out and you can't make us run, 'cause
Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
Say, ma'am, if you ain't into that, we don't give a damn. The preacher man says it's the end of time, and the Mississippi River, she's a going dry.
Talk lines are open now at 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797. This is Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Wellness Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Nepute, and we have been discussing really our sick care system and how to help people get out of it. We were talking about how, we live in this matrix of healthcare, which I'm actually getting ready to write a book about, and we'll have some DVDs and CDs about that, which will be pretty cool. But we're just so inundated with just improper information. We talked about how the big pharmas and all this stuff, how they own everything, and this is not conspiracy theory. This is the reality.
But I think people are starting to get more a hold of this information. I really do feel like people are getting this now.
Well, they are. There's definitely more people that are getting it, and the flat earth thinking is gone. People are now realizing that that they're going to have to take personal responsibility.
At least asking more questions.
Yeah, they just need to take more personal responsibility. That's the big thing, and get the answers that they need. You see, so. The thing that I wanted to get into now is this. I told you that, and I want to get into this. I've got a couple callers I want to get to, so hang loose, callers. We'll get you. There was a doctor friend of mine who fought the FDA several times and won, and now that he won this, he beat the FDA for saying certain things. So how many of y'all know that if you get sued by the FDA for making a claim as a doctor and then you beat them, that means it's got to be true?
Sure.
Without question.
Right.
Because even if there's a little sliver of it ain't right, you're going to the pokey.
Absolutely.
So here's the deal. These are statements that people need to know, like this. How many of you all have heard of breast cancer before?
Sure.
Right? We hear about this, the Susan B. Komen deal, and everybody's wearing pink, which if you remind me, I'll talk about that in just a second. But did you know this? Is that according to the FDA now, you can say this. It's at 200 micrograms of selenium. Selenium is a mineral. It reduces the risk of getting breast cancer by 82%. So every woman out there needs to go right now and get a bottle of selenium.
Why are we hearing about this?
Well,
what is going on?
Well, why do you think? I mean, there's you cannot patent selenium. Pfizer can't make it.
Right.
And another thing is, so when you're downtown with this ginormous race for the cure, shouldn't there be a huge banner of people selling selenium?
Yeah.
How about, here's the deal. It shouldn't be the race for the cure. It should be the race for the cause. Let's find the cause of cancer, which when we get Dr. Charles Majors on the show, he's going to talk about how he cured himself from cancer. That is the point.
That's a great point. And when they talk about prevention, that's the only thing that always rubs me wrong when they talk about prevention. When Dr. Eric talks about prevention, he's talking about things you can do to not get it. When they talk about prevention, they talk about test until we eventually find it. So we find it in an early enough stage to where they can do something about it. So that's not really prevention.
Not at all.
No, not at all. Well, how about like this? I mean, some of you have heard of things like omega-3 fish oils.
Sure.
Yeah. These are called essential fatty acids. But did you know that if you have the proper amount of essential fatty acids, which really needs to be tested for you individually because no one's the same, but it can actually reduce the risk of stroke, which according to the CDC is the fourth leading cause of death in the United States, by 80%. So 80% of people who are going to die from strokes don't have to if you're just taking the right amounts of omega-3s, 6s, and 9s.
And I have to ask. Wow. I mean,
it's a fact,
about as much money as they have raised, like the little pink ribbons and all that money. I couldn't imagine how much money's been raised. How has there not been? If there hasn't been now, how could they ever possibly?
Well, just
with
Google
as much
how
money?
much per dollar actually goes to the quote-unquote
It's very
cause.
little, isn't it?
Or watch Pink
even
Ink.
smaller than
watch
very
the
little.
documentary Pink Ink. It's sickening. It's appalling. As a matter of fact, I will not affiliate myself with something like that. I would be more than happy to do a race for the cause.
I love that
because that helps. The thing is and you want to talk about cancer. Those of you that are listening right now that have cancer or concerns with cancer, man, look up the Brzezinski Institute down in Houston, Texas.
Yeah,
these guys have been curing cancer and have been sued by the FDA and the AMA and have won multiple times, which again means it works.
Yep.
So,
just Google anti-neoplastin.
That's right. And it's there. People. So here's the thing, folks. Those of you that are listening now, I want you to get unplugged from this healthcare matrix. Get out of this sick system because
But wait, Obamacare is going to save us, though, right? I mean, Obamacare is going to, everybody's going to have insurance.
Yeah.
And then,
which is a perfect dream for the
which makes us healthy.
for the
right?
medical
this has got to be a
facility.
dream come true, really.
It really is, because so here's who's going to get coverage. Everybody's going to get coverage for what? For allopathic medicine, for the
More
number one
medicine.
cause of death in the United States. Makes absolute sense to me.
Wow.
Sign me up for that. You know, it's a joke.
That's
it's an
sarcasm,
I'm
kids.
sorry. It's an absolute joke. So before we get any farther, I got a couple callers I want to take. Let me go ahead and have line one. There's Kim on line one. So, Kim, this is Dr. Eric. Welcome to Wellness Matters. What can we do for you?
Hi, Dr. Eric. I actually saw you this past week, and you are phenomenal, and your staff is equally as
Well,
phenomenal.
I appreciate that. I promise
We did
that
not pay
we did not pay Kim to say this.
No, I swear. And I'm a former nurse, and
Okay.
I feel the exact same way about medicine as you do.
Yeah.
And I'm very
Because
fed
you've
up
seen
with
it. You've seen it, Kim.
Yes,
You've seen it. Yeah.
yes. I've seen way too much of it.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, my husband had a rash on his face. He went
Right.
to the doctor, or to the dermatologist. She goes, I have no idea what it is. And she charged him $200.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And she still got her money, which just
Yeah.
Yeah.
amazes me. But I was the patient who peeked at my urinalysis results.
I remember you came from about, I think, a couple hours away to see me,
Yes.
if I recall. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. And got a little freaked out.
Okay.
Not what I expected.
Yeah.
And
But guess what? We found the cause, which means we can fix it.
oh, amen. Thank you.
Yeah.
What it did was it scared me so bad I couldn't keep anything down, and I inadvertently got off a diet soda.
Okay.
I have drank diet soda since I was 10 years old, and I'm in my 50s.
Okay.
I
Wow.
thought, it's become a friend even more than it was a beverage, and I never ever thought I could get off of it. All those aches and pains that I told you about in the office, they are all gone.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I just want to tell everybody out there, if you think you're drinking, well, I'm drinking diet soda
Yeah.
because I'm not drinking regular, so I'm way ahead of the game. Trust me, if you're having aches and pains and health problems, get rid of the diet soda. It's all chemicals.
Kim, you're absolutely right. The
what a great call.
aspartame that is in there is not only can it cause pain like you were experiencing. So, we see a lot of women and men, more women, but with things like fibromyalgia.
Yeah.
And we talk to them and they're like, you know what? I'm drinking like 2 liters of Diet Coke a day.
Yeah.
If we can get them off the Diet Coke, their symptoms go away within like a week or two.
Right.
But, you have to understand that you get addicted to the aspartame just like you would crack cocaine. It's the same spot in your
Really?
brain. Absolutely. It's the same neurological stuff. So Kim, let me just tell you, thank you so much for calling. That's awesome testimony. I look forward to seeing you in the office on your next visit. And again, I did not pay Kim to call, but that's awesome that she did. So, Kim, have a great rest of the day, and thank you so much for your call. and
Thanks
for
a lot.
supporting
God
us.
bless you.
And just to say, Kim, she brought up a point about, she said, well, she got so freaked out by the urinalysis. But like you always oftentimes tell people, it's, don't really, it's not like a day is going to make, you've built this over, 20 years. So these results are just really showing,
Let me tell you this, is that in every room that we have Kleenex boxes in there. And here's why. Because every day we, including myself and my staff, cry tears of joy with people.
I know that to be true.
And a lot of times when people come in and they have a quote unquote, let's say they want help with their migraines, and we find out the reason why they have migraines is because their liver is shot, their kidneys are trashed, they're degenerating, they're dying slowly from the inside out, and that's scary.
Yeah.
But here's the deal: once we tell them what we found, if we found the cause with you, we can help you fix it. And that's the beauty of it. Give you a great example about that. And I know she's listening. My stepmother was at my house on Saturday, to come see my baby girl to have lunch with us. My dad and stepmom came down, and she said, about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I put her on some nutrition. She was having this horrible swelling and pain in her legs, and she went to like all of her doctors back home, and they're like, there's nothing we can do. We don't know what else is going on. I did a blood test, a urine test, found out she had a liver issue. So she had a fatty cirrhosis liver.
Right.
Her medical doctors confirmed it. So I put her on some enzymes. The doctor said there's nothing that can be done to fix this.
What?
Listen, I put her on some enzymes.
Why do they say these things?
Because they don't know, Kane. They don't have the freaking knowledge.
Unreal.
So here's the thing. If you don't know, you shouldn't say anything. It's just like me. I am not a brain surgeon. So guess what? I know you have a brain and I know what surgery is, but I don't do either one together. So therefore, don't freaking talk about it. It's against the law. So any of you doctors that are out there that say you shouldn't try chiropractic, this will hurt you, you. This will kill you. Guess what, Jack? That's illegal, and it's absolutely against the law. And I keep a whole team of freaking attorneys on staff so that we can help get the word out to people that you can't say that.
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Right.
And the reality of it is that there's only some old school doctors that still have flat earth thinking that don't understand, well, I guess I can't say that, but don't understand the reality of how things work.
Right.
And, a lot of these guys, I'd love to send patients to them. Love to. If you got a broken bone or you need surgery, I'll send out for that stuff. But you know what? Anything else, we don't need to. So anyway, long story short, let me get back to my stepmother. She says, hey, I want to let you know that I went to my doctor the other day, and they said my liver's completely fine. They said, what have you been doing? She says, oh, my son put me on these supplements and vitamins and this stuff. And they're like, well, I guess keep doing it because it's working. They don't know anything about it.
They just don't, because they're not trained.
They're not educated on it.
Right.
They're not educated. And that's the thing, is that, please, there's a difference between stupidity and ignorance. Stupid means you just don't know. I'm sorry, ignorance means you just don't know.
Right.
Stupid means you know and you don't know anything about it, or you make an assumption.
Yeah, and they're not bad people.
No, they're not. And here's the thing, though. You can't fix stupid. You can't.
No.
You absolutely can't. I cannot tell you how many times, let me tell you this. I've had neurologists call my office or have staff call and say, you cannot adjust this person's neck. They have severe migraines and all this. And then you know what? Here's the deal. Well, they did until we started adjusting them.
Yeah.
And now they don't have migraines.
Right.
The risk for what we do is so minimal. We can base our risk factors off of how much malpractice someone pays per year.
Yeah, look
so
at a
let's talk
doctor's
about this.
malpractice.
Because here's the thing. The safer what you do is, the less malpractice you pay. Now, that's not made up by some pie-in-the-sky doctor that says, I'm only going to pay this much. There are people that sit in rooms and calculate the risk.
Sure.
They're actuarists. And so here's the deal. A general practitioner's malpractice, do you guys know how much GPs typically
Not
are?
a clue.
About 30, maybe $30K a year.
Okay.
If you're an OB, goes up to like 100. If you're a neurosurgeon, we're talking, multiple hundreds. So the more risk involved. Do you know what I pay a year in malpractice?
No.
$1,500.
Wow.
And that's the most it's ever going to go.
I pay more my car insurance.
So me too.
Because they just know that
it's
there's
safe,
there's no
dude.
risk.
It's safe.
Right.
So we got to make this movement and educate people, okay? People need to get unplugged from the stupid matrix and wake up. They need to wake up, because the reality of it is that you can get health and have life more abundantly. Now, listen, we have got a ton of callers, and I want to get to some of these folks. We're going to take a real quick break, okay? And then we're going to come back and answer some of these calls, and because I'm telling you, we're hitting some hot buttons.
Cool.
And I want all of you to, if you can't get your calls answered, Ryan, tell them where they can find us.
Facebook, Nepute, Nepute Wellness, so Nepute Wellness. Log on.
Yeah, or you can call the office at 314-544-5600. See you in just a minute.
And your songs, they all will play. He set up shop on Sunset. He put me up at the Marquee.
Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
Sell 1,000,000 records, boy. Better listen to me.
And I heard, as it were, the noise of thunder. One of the four beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, and behold, a white horse.
Talk lines are open now at 314-969-9797 or 866-455-9797. This is Wellness Matters with Dr. Eric Nepute.
Taking names. And he decides who to free and who to blame.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to our last segment of Wellness Matters. I'm your host, Dr. Eric Nepute, and we have been lighting it up today, talking about the healthcare model, sick care model. Listen, those of you that aren't getting your calls answered, I really want to get to all of them. There's just no way I can. I want you all to make sure. I will, so don't hang up yet, because I'm going to answer a couple. But get us on Facebook. Get us at Nepute Wellness. Call the office 314-544-5600, because that's what we're here to do, man. We're here to give you the answers.
Yeah.
Because, just like that gal that just called from way up north of Missouri, Kim, she's like, I got freaked out. I got scared. You know what? She had a check. She had a reality check that I need to do something different. So guess what she did? She stopped diet soda.
Took action.
And she's like, half my symptoms are gone. So that's phenomenal. I love that. And the best thing you can do as a doctor is Latin for teacher. Teach people how to live. I want to read something to you guys that I pulled out of my history book the other day. And it talks about our healthcare system. Listen to this, because it goes true with what we're saying. Have you guys ever heard of Benjamin Rush?
Yeah, he was. Didn't he help write the declaration?
Nah, he didn't help write it, but he signed it. Okay, so he was back around that type. So Benjamin Rush said this, and I quote, all right, so unless we put medical freedom into the Constitution, a time will come that medicine will organize itself into a dictatorship to restrict its art of healing to only one class and deny equal privilege to others. Welcome to the Matrix.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a great point.
We're here, dude.
Yeah, because you see all these rich and famous, they get a level of care that everybody else doesn't.
How the heck did Bob Hope live to be 100?
Yeah,
exactly.
You're talking about Simon Cowell.
Well, yeah, he gets a vitamin enema every day, he says. It's a vitamin injection. He gets a Myers cocktail every day. He gets his fruit juice. I mean, the guy, not to sound, whatever, but he looks good for 1,000 years old, right? The deal is, Simon, don't sue me, but actually that'd be good PR. No, go ahead and do that. But anyway, so the thing is that we need to wake the heck up. Yeah. All right. And what I want to do is I want to get a couple calls going. So let me get line one here. So Michael, welcome to Wellness Matters. What can we do for you?
Well, I was wondering. I was diagnosed about 10 years ago with neuropathy in my lower limbs, both lower limbs.
Yeah.
And they did all the tests and blood tests and. And they can't figure out why.
All right.
I mean, they say I got the same thing as a diabetic.
Yeah.
But
it's not. But it's not diabetes. Okay.
And I'm not diabetes, and I'm 6'4" at 225.
All right, Michael. Let me answer this because I see this. I can't tell you how many times a day I see this. Not only in the legs, but in the arms. I even see it in the face a lot of times with people. Wow. So listen, neuropathy. All it means is that there's a problem with the nerve, Michael. Period. So now think about this. Here's how the body works. The brain lives in your skull. It sends electrical signals down your spinal cord, and then from your spinal cord, it goes out all these different areas of your body, these different segments. And the low part of your back, the nerves that come out of the low part of your back control the legs, among other things like your bowels and your bladder and reproductive areas, but they control your legs. So if you have what's called a subluxation in your lower lumbar spine, that, Michael, could be the cause of it. And no, your doctors probably didn't look for it because that's not what they're trained in. And the way I explain it, Michael, that people understand is this. You know what a fuse box is, right? So if you came home, turn your lights on in your kitchen, the lights didn't turn on, and your bulbs were good and your bills were paid, you'd go to your fuse box, you'd say, oh, there's a blown fuse, turn that thing back on, and guess what? Your lights turn on. I would bet my bottom dollar that it's probably a blown fuse in your low back. We call it a subluxation. If that's the case, that's fixable. Now, understand that if you're getting neuropathy, that means it's been there a long time. It's degenerating and decaying, which means that it's going to take time to regenerate. Now, Michael, there could also be nutritional correlations. I see people that are very deficient in B vitamins, B6, B9, and B12 that can contribute to feet and leg neuropathy. Let's find the cause of this thing, man, and fix it. Does that make sense, Michael, to you?
Sure, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Well, so look, here's the deal. You're more than welcome to come into the clinic as well, just like everyone else does. If you don't live in the Illinois or Missouri area, we'd be happy you call us. We'll help you find a doctor, whatever area of the world that you're in, because we do that all the time.
All the time.
So, Michael, our number is 544-5600, 314-544-5600. So I hope I answered your question. I hope you take some action. And because if you keep doing what you've always done, Michael, you're going to keep getting what you've gotten. And next thing you know, you're going to be with a walker or wheelchair. So thank you so much for the call, and we'll take some more. So, see, guys, see what I'm talking about? I can't tell you how many people. This is not simple. Getting people healthy is not a complex thing.
Right.
Did you hear what I said? Getting people healthy is not complex. We have to find the cause of the problem, and the problem is simple.
But the doctors say the cause of the problem is neuropathy.
No, they don't even say that. They say your problem is neuropathy. So here's a pill for that, or here's a drug for that. It's not about cause. It's symptom based. The best medical doctors on the world, and there's a place for medicine. I have some that work for me. I love medicine. It's great. If I get hit by a truck or God forbid have a heart attack, you take me to the hospital. They'll save my life. But you know what? They're not going to help me change my diet, get my nutrition right, get my nerves right, show me how to balance and meditate my brain. Do you see? They're not going to help me find the cause. So you've heard me say this before. Medicine is like the fire department. Those are the folks that come to your house when your house is on fire. You call them. They're going to bust out your windows. They're going to douse your house with water. They're going to ruin 90% of your stuff, but they're going to save your overall house.
Right.
Okay? And you're grateful for that. But if you on Monday, when your house is now back to normal,
right?
Who are you going to call? You going to call the fire department again? No. You're going to call people that have materials and wood and glue and nails and know how to put it back together. And that's what wellness doctors do.
Well, it's
that's
just
what we
so
do.
surprising, though, because, and I'll even tell you, what I've learned recently is that not all chiropractors are doing what. I know you guys are a medical and a chiropractic office, and I get that, but you guys have, you try to lean more to, to a holistic care. Whenever possible, obviously, and I just don't get why more people, even chiropractors, aren't talking about this stuff.
They're not taught it. You have to understand that not all. Listen, I say this a lot. God creates all men equal, but not all doctors. Okay, or not all plumbers, or not all electricians. Everyone. It's. I know this sounds crazy, but man, every weekend I'm either in a seminar or I'm studying something or learning something. This is my passion, man. I believe that we all are on this planet and have a divine purpose, and once you find that purpose, you don't get tired with it. You don't get bored of it. You get to save and change lives every day, and that's what I get to see. I get to see miracles happen every day.
Kim that called in, I mean, just one thing totally changed her life.
How simple of a change.
Gosh, that's awesome.
And that's an amazing thing. Another thing that, remember last week when we had that guy call from the hospital with his daughter?
Oh, that was horrible.
He called from the hospital. I don't think it was the Children's or Barnes or something.
She didn't say.
But he was, they're literally right now doing chemo on his daughter.
Yeah.
And he's like, am I doing the right thing? Is this right for me? Here's the thing is, I bet his doctor did not tell him that in the Journal of Clinical Oncology in 1994, they did a 12-year study that said that 97% of chemotherapy is ineffective.
Gosh.
Now, I didn't say that. The Journal of Clinical Oncology said that in 1994.
But people feel like it's their only option because the guy in the white coat came in and told them that was their option. Because
that's the only option they're presented with.
And by the way, the chemicals they use in chemotherapy are from the 70s.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? And that's not like new drugs being used in chemotherapy. It's not happening.
And I want you to know that God forbid any of us get put in a situation like that we have to have some type. If I had a tumor that was pressing on my optic nerve and I had to have that removed or I would never be able to see, there's a chance that I would probably say, let's go ahead and remove that tumor.
Right.
And then let's make sure I find out what the heck caused that thing so I can fix it. You know another horrible thing is that when people are on chemotherapy, they tell them don't worry about diet nutrition because it has no effect. Man, I could go for hours and hours and hours, you guys. This is crazy. Okay, the deal is this. I want you all to understand this. My message is clear. It's one of hope. So those of you right now that are sick and tired of being sick and tired, that are disgusted, busted, that are at home, don't know where to turn, find people like us that know what we're talking about. I don't care what part of the world you're in. Yeah. You get a hold of us, we'll hook you up with the right people. You can find us on the web at Nepute Wellness. That's Nepute Wellness. Like us on Facebook. You can get our audios, get all the stuff that we do. You can find us on 97.1.
Yeah, one of the things that you do such a good job at is everything that you talk about, you try to make available to everybody, because that's, in the end of the day, that's always your goal.
Knowledge is power, man. So I encourage all of you right now to make the day be the day that you take some action. Stop second-guessing your life and start getting the life that you're promised, because you can have life and have it more abundantly. And I want to just tell you how much I appreciate all the support that everyone's given us, because we're just getting unbelievable support for this thing.
And
next Sunday, we got a fun. Actually, next Sunday is Mother's Day, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
We have a very special guest coming in here next Sunday. My wife is coming in next Sunday.
Really? She's a mom.
She's a mom. We changed our schedule up a little bit, so I want moms to be listening next week, because she's going to teach you how to raise happy, healthy, abundant kids. And we're going to take some really cool calls and get some stuff going. So, until next week, you guys are all phenomenal. God bless you all.
Thank you.
And remember, wellness matters.
My only son.